Imagine when you share your darkest hours, they become someone else's light. I'm Jennifer Lee, a global community storyteller, host, author, and survivor, guiding you through genuine, unfiltered conversations. Together, we break the silence, shatter stigma, and amplify voices that need to be heard. Each episode stands as a testament to survival, healing, and reclaiming your power. Listen to I Need Blue on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or your favorite platform. Learn more at www.ineedblue.net. Trigger warning: I Need Blue shares real-life stories of trauma, violence, and abuse meant to empower and support. Please take care of yourself and ask for help if needed. Now let's begin today's story. The holidays, a season of joy, connection, and travel. But let's be real. It's also the time when distractions are at their peak. Between shopping crowds, packed schedules, and long to-do lists, it's easy to let your guard down. That's why situational awareness matters now more than ever. Not because we should live in fear, but because being prepared is power. My guest today knows all about that. Meet James, Sifu of Walum Kung Fu, a master instructor whose wisdom goes beyond martial arts. I've seen his demonstrations firsthand, and trust me, the lessons he shares could change the way you move through the world. Wait until you hear about something he calls mugger money. Without further ado, James, thank you for being my guest, and welcome to the I Need Blue podcast.
Thank you, Jen. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm doing great today.
Well, we're in Florida, so it can only be so bad with the sun shining and the heat. So, I really would like to start out with how your path led you to where you are today, helping others to protect themselves. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Sure. It's been quite a journey for me. I started as a teenager in the martial arts with the normal interest in just being very active. I was always drawn to the art of the martial arts, as well as the learning of fighting. But as I got older and started to instruct others, things have changed quite a bit for me. And now I see the benefits that it provides for children and adults. So my focus has really changed to more of a community awareness and helper.
I love that. I think that is actually great. And it's a great resource for parents as well, with kids who have a lot of energy, if you will.
Yes.
A very productive way for them to get that out and learn valuable skills, because what you teach goes beyond just situational awareness tips. You want to share a little bit of those things that you teach, like discipline, things like that?
Absolutely. One of the most rewarding parts of what I do is teaching the children. I have taught thousands of kids over the years, and although they may only stay a year or two, some stay longer, they come back and you realize the impact they have when they come back and they say how much it meant to them, how much it changed them, how it made them more confident in school, how it made them able to focus on school and not be so worried about being bullied, or what if this happens or what if that happens. They've experienced some challenges, and that's one of the things that we really promote in the children's class is we push them to push themselves past their comfort level and do things that are physically demanding, push-ups and sit-ups and kicks, things that also are muscularly painful, long stances, and things that are really building character. None of them are harmful to them, obviously, but they're difficult. And I think sometimes today our children don't get difficult in their life very often. And they need to be aware that that's going to happen. It's going to happen in school. It's going to happen in work. And they need to know how to work through those difficulties. We help reinforce all the things that parents are trying to teach them, but becomes white noise at some point in all children's lives. So they hear somebody else say it, and suddenly they say, "Oh, how about that?"
Now, let's jump ahead to us adults. Our timing is perfect for this when we finally connected here, is because we're coming upon the holidays, and we both agreed that it would be a great time for you to share because we are very distracted at this time. We have our little list that we're paying attention to, crossing off of getting our Thanksgiving meals or Christmas gifts, whatever it may be. But being more distracted makes us more of a target. And so our goal today was for you to go through some really important tips.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Like you said, distractions are the enemy. And during the holiday season, it's easy to be distracted. We're a little bit, we're excited, right? Because things are coming up. We have a long list of food that needs to be bought and things that need to be prepared. And it's easy to forget our situational awareness. And it's one of the things we talk about here at the Kung Fu School. Situational awareness is not just, looking at the things around you, but it's also parts and pieces of how you live your life. You make habits, and you can make good habits, you can make bad habits. I know that in today's day and age, everybody has a phone. It's easy to be distracted by a phone. But I think we have all seen people walking down the street looking at their phone, which is a very poor defensive position. If you're in a shop or in a supermarket or leaving the supermarket, crossing the parking lot, that's one of the things we want to make a good habit of, and that's to put the phone away and pay attention to our surroundings. Look at the people around you. Look at the exits and the vehicles that are around you. When you go out to the parking lot, see what vehicles are parked next to your vehicle. If something looks suspicious, maybe call for someone to come out from, let's say you're at Publix, you could always ask somebody to come out and help load the car, even if you don't need it. There's possibility of somebody following you or somebody's behavior just doesn't fit what you're expecting. And this is another area that I talk about, and that's trusting your instincts. It is in our nature to notice when things don't feel right. But sometimes, if we're in a familiar setting like our local Publix or wherever our supermarket is, we may dismiss those feelings and think, "Oh well, I'm just being paranoid." Well, paranoid can be a good thing in some situations. So trust your instincts. Listen to your gut feelings. If you feel like something is wrong about a situation, then take a second and make a plan. Which brings me to the next part I think we're going to talk about, and that's planning ahead.
Go right on ahead. I love it.
Okay. So, one of the other things that I talk about with my students and with people that I help with self defense is preparing ahead of time, having a plan in your mind so that when something happens that we hope never happens, at least our brain has something to fall back to. If we don't have a plan, the unfortunate thing is we often will fall to the attacker's plan because they seem to know what they want to do. And it's human nature. We tend to follow. And that's not a good thing when we're in a situation where our life or our property could be in danger. And that also brings up things we want to think about for scenarios. What is it that the person is confronting us about? Are they interested in theft? Or is it assault or abduction? Those are very different situations. And we want to have a plan that fits all of those. That plan needs to be to escape the situation. Even if you're very good at self defense, escape should always be the goal. Fighting your way out, making a point, beating somebody down is not the way you want to go into it. You want to have an escape plan. And the reason for that is your attacker got to choose the place, the time, and possibly the number of people. Always assume that there's more than one attacker and it'll keep your mind right. You'll always be thinking, I need to get out of here, which is exactly what we should be thinking. In addition to watching the things around you, make sure you're not on your phone, have some weapons available to you, your keys in your hand, or if you have a weapon in your purse or on your body, be prepared with it and train with it. But also be prepared for when someone assaults you. If they say to you, I want your wallet, then you know what they want and you know what their motivation is. You could throw the wallet. And this is, you mentioned this at the beginning. I'll tell the story. So my father was from New Jersey. As a child or as a teenager, they got to go all over the place. New York City, at that time, New York City wasn't that safe. And it was well known that joggers in Central Park would often get mugged. And my father told me what they would do is they would bring muggers' money with them. So that when someone jumped out at them to mug them, they wouldn't take a second beat. They would take that money out and throw it to them and keep running. And odds are the mugger, if they just wanted money, they're going to go for the money. They're going to leave you alone. By the time they figure out that they got distracted, you're 50 feet away or more and running, which is where you want to be. That kind of brings me to the ideas that I've always taught my students, and that is to prepare some kind of distraction. Now, maybe you don't carry mugger's money, and in today's day and age, many people don't even carry money anymore. They do everything with their card. But having a wallet or having some kind of valuable that you could throw somewhere where they have to go get it, near their feet or somewhere slightly close to them, is a distraction and hopefully enough time for you to leave immediately.
Right. Okay. So very well articulated. And what I would like to share is listening to your instincts and having a plan do not require formal training.
Correct.
Right. And this is why we're having the conversation today, because if you never have the formal training, that doesn't mean you're going to become a victim.
That's right. Even with formal training, you could make mistakes. So, really, having a plan is the most important thing, and you don't have to have any advanced training for that. You just need to plan ahead a little bit. I encourage people to think about what could potentially happen and try to see how you can react to that. And it's nice to make it simple, too. If you make a very complicated plan, your brain's going to get locked up in too many options. So, having one, maybe two simple plans is the best thing you could do because you'll default to that and you'll increase your odds. And I think we talked about that at our last session in Indian Harbor. There's no way to plan for all potential situations. However, you can increase your odds. And that's what we do in self-defense. It's what we do in the martial arts is we're trying to increase our odds so that if something does happen, we have a better chance of reacting properly and surviving the situation. So with that in mind, I usually tell people it's a good idea to write something down, plan it out. If you think that every attack is a theft and treat it like that, you can have one plan. All of the other things that they may want are not negotiable. You can't say yes to those things. Anytime the attacker says, do this, do that, lay down on the floor, if you realize, well, that's not something I want to do, it lessens my chances of survival, then you can default back to they're here to steal something. So even if they're not asking, I'm going to give them my distraction. I'm going to throw it to them and I'm going to leave as quick as I can. Having training doesn't mean that you're going to survive. It just means it increases the odds. And I do tell everybody that I talk to that it's not a bad idea to get some training. If people are interested in that, we obviously are a resource for that. But there are many good resources out there. Having a weapon on your person is not always a solution unless you've been trained well with it. So a lot of people will default to carrying a firearm. But if you're not real versed with your firearm, that can actually be a liability as well. It takes a while to get a firearm out and ready. And a lot of things can go wrong in the process of that. So having a plan that doesn't require a lot of practice or a lot of advanced training is a good idea for everybody.
And would you agree that, let's say your car keys or something like that, having it in your purse as you're walking through that parking lot is not a good idea, especially if taking your purse is their objective? Well, now they've just taken your way that you thought you would defend yourself.
That's right. So there are a lot of things you can use to make a hand or a fist more damaging. So that if someone did grab you and you had to strike out, there are many little trinkets that you can buy that you could have, and they could be attached to your keys or not. But you do want to plan ahead. Somebody once told me, well, I could throw my phone, but if you throw your phone, that was your lifeline to call somebody. So again, planning ahead and thinking, well, maybe I'll carry a dummy phone. That phone that I was supposed to trade in and never actually gave to anybody that's in the drawer at home, I can put that in my purse or I can put that in my pocket. And when they ask for something, I can throw them that phone and I can leave. By the time they figure out that phone isn't working, I'm going to be long gone.
And the buddy system.
Yes, having somebody there, like we mentioned at the beginning, if you feel that there is any danger, always a good idea, just like the attacker, bring help. If you can be somewhere with a girlfriend or another or a boyfriend, and you know that the area you're going into is maybe a little bit risky, you've increased the odds that someone will mess with you.
And say somebody is chasing you. Yell, scream, particular word you should yell that might get attention.
Yeah, so you brought me right along to the next thing that I was going to talk about, and that is defensive postures and reactions. So once you have set up a plan for what I'm going to do, there's a couple things that you can do to increase your potential for surviving the situation. One is you want to try to find the direction that you want to leave and not run randomly. So you want to look around and see if there's anybody that may be a friendly face. The police officer is an obvious one, right? But a family or an open store where you could go in and hopefully solicit help. If there are people around, you want to make noise. You want to draw attention to the fact that you are being attacked. Sometimes in the cities, people won't get involved, but if you yell out fire or if you yell something that may bring them over, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for something that's going to make the attacker give a second thought. Any kind of movement you make, you don't want to alert them that you're running until you know you've got a gap. If they attack and you turn around and run, you've actually given them a chance to attack you. So you need to create a distance or a delay. You need about 1 to 3 seconds to safely be able to escape. And throwing something to the ground that distracts them usually provides about a second. If you're further away, if your attacker was foolish and attacked you from a distance, that allows you enough space to ditch and run. But if they're very close, you may actually have to push or shove, create that distance so that they're off balance just for a second so that you can get away. Your turning and running takes 1 to 3 seconds, depending on the surrounding. But you want to look for where you're going so that you're not randomly running. You want to look for an exit route.
I love that you said posturing up because that also looks like somebody walking with confidence, right? They're head up, they're not distracted, making eye contact, being aware.
Exactly. You've said it perfectly. You want to not look like a target. Having a person with you makes you less likely to look like a target. If you look like you're not distracted, you look less like a target. If you look confident, you're less of a target. All of those things add to the percentage chances for you. And that's all we can do, right? At any point, someone could attack. And I do tell people to be realistic. If you have gotten into a situation where maybe you shouldn't have, but it's too late for that, you need to know that something has to be done on your side of it. You can't follow the directions of the attacker, or there's a decreasing chance of escape every time you obey them. If it gets to the point where you actually have been confronted, you need to know a couple things that people, I guess I would call them myths or misinformations. about self-defense. Nobody is too weak to defend themselves. I often will hear from people that are smaller in stance or women that, no, I'm too weak. If a large male attacks me, what am I going to do? But not attacking is not an option. If you're in that position, you've got to do something. So if everything you've planned you do and it doesn't work, then striking out is the last thing. And you want to strike out with all your power. That's when training will help because it'll increase your ability to strike efficiently. Also, people sometimes will be told by an attacker not to make noise. That goes to my don't listen to them, they're the bad guy. So make noise. If you scream, maybe they'll hurt you. Well, they might, but if you don't scream, they probably are going to hurt you anyway. So scream. Hopefully someone will come to your rescue or to your help. If someone is smaller and you've got a bigger attacker, you can still defend yourself, but you have to focus on technique, awareness, where your strength lies. You're not going to try to hit somebody in the head if they're feet taller than you. But there's all kinds of things low. There's all kinds of areas that you can hit. Hitting those properly, it comes with training. But striking out to vulnerable areas, if you can reach them, like the groin and the eyes, are efficient and effective.
Yes. And going back to the planning is so important because if you get in the habit of every time, and again, we're not living in fear, but every time you walk out of the store, just scan the parking lot, put your phone in your purse, whatever. Now you're training yourself that every time you're out in public to just be aware.
Correct.
And as you train yourself, same thing like with a handgun is you have that muscle memory. So it'll help you to not be quite so panicked should you become in a situation because you've been training your mind.
That's exactly correct. And that's what I would end with on this is that coming up with a plan for making yourself more aware and implementing those is how you're going to create those good habits today. So today, tomorrow, the next day, think about these things when you're at the gas station, when you're at the supermarket, when you're walking on the road or at the beach. Think about these positions of defense and good habits and start to make them part of what you do every day. In addition to that, think about some of the plans that we've talked about. And what would you do if somebody were to step in front of you and block your exit or try to get a hold of you in a parking lot? What would you do to make that distraction and be able to get away? One of the important things I'd stress is staying calm, keeping a clear head, and working whatever plan you put in your head.
Yeah, that is all so valuable. Is there anything that we have missed or that you would like to add before we close today?
No, I think this is a good start and reaffirming that practicing self-defense is just the increasing of confidence and percentages. I would encourage people to practice this, practice this, practice this. If anybody wanted more information, they could reach out to you. We are located in Melbourne, and I'm happy to give advanced training if people want to become students at Wallum Kung Fu.
Perfect. And I will have all of that information in the show notes as well. So it makes it easy for people to find. But James, thank you so much for all of this information. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you.
You're very welcome. I'm glad we could get this information out there. And I'd be happy anytime to do a follow-up.
I love it. I love it. This is something, again, we could revisit every 6 months. Well, I mean, we could revisit it every day.
That's the idea.
In all reality, but
Right.
Certainly we'll connect again in the future.
Thanks, Jen. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome, and thank you for listening. This is Jen with the I Need Blue podcast. You can learn anything and everything about I Need Blue at ineedblue.net. And remember, you are stronger than you think. Until next time.